We light this candle in memory and honor of Renee Nicole Good, and in solidarity with her family, friends, and neighbors, and local public officials in Minneapolis, and now across the whole country. And also in memory of all the other people who have been casualties or lost loved ones due to actions by agents of ICE. The Reverend Ashley Horan, UUA Vice President for Ministries and Programs, who lives a block from where Renee Good was killed, gave this witness. Our Unitarian Universalist faith teaches that every single human life has inherent worthiness and dignity, and that we are inextricably interdependent as humans, as neighbors. Together, these two things mean that there's no question about showing up to confront abuses of power. The greatest form of sin is feeling like we are separate from other people. May we here be steadfast in our witness and care for our neighbors.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Little Rock, where love is our teaching and service is our prayer. Today is a special day in our UU calendar. Happy illUUmination. This morning's service will include traditional elements of this uniquely UU holiday, one that was conceived right here at UUCLR in 1994 and has since been adopted by other UU congregations across the country. If you are a newcomer, we're glad you've chosen to join us for worship. While you're here, please stop by our guest table to fill out a guest card and pick up some information about our church. I now invite our illuminator, Deanne Shields Marley, to come forward to light the chalice and lead us in our affirmation of covenant, which is printed in your order of service.
I light this chalice with these words. Open our eyes to see what is beautiful. Open our minds to learn what is true. Open our hearts to love one another. Join me in reciting the affirmation of faith printed in your order of service. Love is the doctrine of this church. Quest for truth is its sacrament, and prayer is its prayer. Dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine, thus to be covenant with each other.
Symbols represent shared meanings and are important to groups, organizations, and communities. The Unitarian Universalist Association adopted the flaming chalice in the 1970s as an important element of the culture of the church. At the beginning of services, meetings, and special events, we light a chalice as a reminder of our shared values and our unified purpose as a community. The Unitarian Universalist flaming chalice originated in 1941 as a logo for the Unitarian Service Committee. The director of the USC was the Unitarian minister Charles Joy. Based in Portugal, he was in charge of a whole secret group of agents and messengers who worked hard trying to find safe routes for people to escape the Nazis. Communication across countries and cultures and languages was a challenge. He called on a liberal cartoonist, Austrian artist Hans Deutsch, to create an official symbol to help identify USC members. With a symbol, it wouldn't matter if people couldn't read the language. Deutsch borrowed an old symbol of strength and freedom from Czechoslovakia, a chalice with a flame. It showed a chalice or cup that was used for giving a healing drink to others, and it showed a flame on top of the chalice because a flame was often used to represent a spirit of helpfulness and sacrifice. Sometimes one circle encloses the chalice to signify the oneness of all peoples. Sometimes two circles enclose the chalice to represent the merger of the Universalist and Unitarian churches in 1961. The chalice logo served as a secret symbol of service, hope, and sacrifice. It lives on with UU churches like ours as a widespread worship ritual representing community, reason, and inclusive faith.
It is a lovely illUUmination Sunday, a continuation of our illUUmination weekend. illUUmination is a holiday. It exists because of a child. It was born in our RE program and nurtured by loving, creative, curious adults who listened. More than 30 years later, we can still find meaning in its message and its rituals. I'm going to share an excerpt from a sermon entitled "The Eyes of Youth," which was given by Reverend Sylvester, who served our church from 1975 to 1983. And you can see his photograph on the ramp wall if you'd like to. This is in tribute partially because we are in the middle of celebrating our 75th anniversary of UUCLR, and I want to bring back some voices from the past. This is what Reverend Sylvester wrote. We all walk in tunnels, more or less, of our own choosing. And by and large, we tend to be comfortable in them. Allegorically and functionally, we are not claustrophobic. And the main reason for that is because all of us have a light, a gleam, at the ends of our private and collective tunnels. So long as the gleam is there, the gleam of hope, we love our tunnels, and we function well in them, so long as we follow the gleam. A major source of the gleam at the end of the Unitarian Universalist tunnel, indeed, illuminating the entire tunnel, is, believe it or not, the youth movement of this religious education, liberal religious denomination. The perennial problem within churches of all denominations is programming for young people. Secular educators have it relatively easy compared to religious educators when they approach people in this awkward space between childhood and adulthood. Religious educators must ask themselves a far more difficult question. What are the religious needs and questions of people at this stage of life, and how are they best met? Liberal religious youth rise and fall with each succeeding generation of students. Advisors are only rarely involved for more than a few years. Each new committee member arrives to begin work with only the haziest notion of what has been done in past years. And there are really very few people who have any sense of the continuity of our youth programs. There is continuity, however. Indeed, there are patterns that have remained fairly consistent over the years. Many of the notable leaders within the UU began their denominational involvement through their youth groups. For our survival, we need to focus a lot of attention, all of us, on our religious education program. It is not beyond our ingenuity to design environments which can help little people and young people and big people to master concepts necessary to survive in a rapidly changing world. I could have written those words yesterday, and they still apply. In the past years, we have watched our RE program grow, and this did not happen by accident. It is the result, it is the fruit of so much focus and intention by our board, by our leaders, by all of you who've been teachers in the past, by parents and those, I'm looking at Lisa, who create programs and support the programs, our fairy godparents and all of them who make it their priority to help this program grow. This morning, I'm going to invite our kids forward to receive a gift. They are gifts to us, so pretend like this is the gifts around our chalice here coming forward. But every holiday should have a little anticipation of a present. So kids, if you're under the age of 18, come on forward. And here's my question for the rest of you. Do you recognize those faces? Could you call them by name? How would you summarize your relationship with any one of them? During illUUmination, we speak a lot about our lights, our inner flame. But it's important to remember that they have lights too. And they're not just for our amusement or entertainment. They're not just to be used as a way for us to say our church is shining bright. We are here to see their light in its young, unrefined, this childlike, magical state. We are here to learn it, to fuel it, to protect it. And as they grow older and navigate maturity and peer pressures and coolness, we are here as a collective memory to remind them with this sacred space of that flame that burns within them, their light. They should not hide it, because I think we can all agree this world is going to need it. I invite you to stand. Let's stand. We will join in a round entitled Rise Up, O Flame, as we transition into our chocolate communion. Sing out. You know how love manifests sometimes? As chocolate. We gift it to ourselves. We gift it to one another. Chocolate has long been a symbol of love. It is one of life's pleasures. We may encounter many forms of chocolate in our lives. In the same way that life transitions us through many phases, chocolate takes many forms. Sometimes life is sweet and smooth and simple like milk chocolate. Sometimes it's very sweet, like white chocolate. Sometimes it's full of things like nuts, or drippy caramel, or unidentifiable pink fluff. Things that may or may not be a surprise or welcome, or maybe it's your absolute favorite thing about chocolate. Sometimes life is bittersweet, with memories and thoughts as deep and rich and complex as dark chocolate. And sometimes it's just bitter, perhaps appealing to the dark reaches of our taste buds, or beckoning us to use it, not to hold it in its singularity, but to transform it into something more. Our lives are rich and complex, ever-changing, ever-flowing. As we enter into chocolate communion, I invite you to come forward and select a chocolate from the bowl. Whichever is best for you. There's a key in your order of service. Pick one, but do not eat it right away. Carry the chocolate back to your seat and hold it loosely until everyone has come through the line and has returned to their seat. If you would like a chocolate brought to you, please just raise a hand or flag an usher, and we'll come by to give you one at your seat. As the music plays, starting with our front row, please come forward through the center aisle, return around the side aisles, and file forward as you select your chocolates. Chocolate communion will now begin. I now invite you to take and eat your chocolate. Let it melt in your mouth just a little bit. Let this chocolate remind you of the complexity. That was my job, I forgot. Let this chocolate remind you of the complexity and richness of our UU faith, full of sweetness and depth, able to contain a multitude of different folks, different beliefs, but all rooted with love at the center. Not yet, but I'm giving Chad a visual clue. We move now into a time of contemplation. As we here in this winter season, at the beginning of a new year, turn our attention to looking ahead. We sometimes simplify that light is good and dark is bad, but we know darkness is not inherently bad. Dark is a time for rest. For some, it is cover and safety. It is for germination and many other necessary things. Yet, we often use the word darkness, especially during illUUmination, to encapsulate times of trials, struggles, our demons, times when life feels hard and isolating or hopeless. This is the darkness we mean when we speak and sing about being in the dark and shining our lights into the dark places. I invite you into a time of reflection. During the song as it plays, when you look out over the year ahead, what darkness do you see? In your life or in the world, what comes to your mind as the darkest spots? Take a moment to find these things and hold them in your mind. And then, when you're ready, ask yourself, what is to come out of this darkness? And what can be done to help the light break through?
I invite you to remain standing as I invite Deanne back up to extinguish our chalice. If you feel comfortable doing so, please reach out and take the hand or arm of the person next to you. Reach across the aisle and rows and feel the connection of the community as we join in saying our closing words.
We go out into the world.
Go in peace, have courage, hold on to what is good, return to no person evil for evil, strengthen the faint-hearted, support the weak, help the suffering, honor all beings.
And may we leave a trail of light in our wake so that other courageous seekers will find the path and know they are not alone on this journey. Amen.